All right. What's going on with my camera? Zooming in all over the place. Let me just adjust that. Oh, I see. It's not normal tracking mode. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're a little bit early, so we got couple more minutes before the top of the hour. So a lot of people, I'm just going to wait a second here for more people to tune in. Anybody got any questions going into the call before we get started here? Interesting things forming on the charts. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A lot of people jumping on here. Mark asks, have you ever used a prop firm? No, I have not. I hear lots of different conflicting stories about them. I don't know if they're looking out for your best interest. I'm not really sure. Um, do they want you to make money or they want you to lose? I'm not really sure. I'd never recommend trading other people's money unless you know how to trade, guys, and you know what you're doing. I still got people asking me all the time to trade for them. They just want to send me money. I'll give you 10%. That's laughable, guys, just so you know. Why would I trade your money for 10% when I can trade my money for 100%? But unless you really know what you're doing, and we do have a couple people in this group who've gotten to the point where they've actually created their own little hedge funds and they're trading for family and friends. But I personally don't think you should unless you really, really know what you're doing. If you've ever had a business with a family member or a friend, you'll know that that's usually not a good idea. And if you're responsible for other people's money, they're going to be calling you all the time asking you how their money's doing. So basically, you just took on a boss for no reason.
Hey, Nico, this is Marianne. Did you hear anything about Swift building its own blockchain?
Yes.
What's going on with that? Who are they merging with?
I mean, I think it's going to be something on the Ethereum blockchain, but I don't think it really matters. And I don't think they have anything that could. A lot of people say, oh, well, they're not going to use Ripple, so Ripple's not going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do. They don't have to use Ripple. Ripple's not trying to work with Swift. Ripple's trying to replace Swift. Swift is outdated, and Swift is a separate entity altogether.
But they just merged with somebody.
Yeah, but from what I understand, is the company that they're merged with to create their own blockchain technology to be handle transactions still needs the Ripple network in order to process the transactions. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But from what I understand from the Ripple CEOs, is that it doesn't matter whether they're not trying to work with Swift. If they do, great. But if not, their goal is to replace it altogether or, provide a option. And it's not one or the other. I mean, all Ripple has to do is get it 14%, 15% of the entire banking, transactional network for it to be over $1,000 per XRP. But there are other experts out there that talk about this all the time. I know that federal chairman, I got to find this video and share it with you guys, but there is someone out there that that has been speaking directly about it. Hold on one second.
And they spent billions of dollars to purchase things to provide the infrastructure to do that, correct?
Never mind. All right. Yeah, I want to talk about, well, we can get into that whole Ripple thing, but let me just go ahead and get started here and share my screen. All right, so we got Bitcoin. It's obviously still in its upward trending channel, but I'm going to share this screen instead. This is kind of the problem here. Well, we got above the red line, which is the 112. The 112 support, which was previous resistance, and it held as resistance from May until July, a couple months. It came down and retested previous resistance first before breaking out with a nice little bullish flag. And it wicked down to the 98, 97 range, which basically was previous resistance before breaking out, retesting. And then when it broke out of this flag and retested and shot up, it hit resistance again right here at the 112, which was the all-time high back here. And then once it broke through, it has hit a ceiling up here at 123. And since then it hit the 112, couldn't get past the 123. I mean, it went to 124 here, but it didn't hold above 123. Came back down to 112, bounced on it, went below it, hit it as resistance, went above it, hit it as support, went below it, hit it as resistance, and went above it, support, went below it, support, went below it, resistance, came back up, resistance, went through it, but couldn't hold above it, resistance, hit it again, and went above it, and then all the way back up. And every time it did go above it, not every time, but a lot of times it came up here to the 115.8, 116. And that's what it just hit. And now it's coming back down to retest the 112. So why is it not climbing higher? Why did it not get up here and retest these highs? I have obviously 126 was the all-time high as far as price goes, but we never held above 123. So that's the magic number that we need to get to, is 123 right here, this yellow line, which is about 123.3 to be exact, which is this major resistance level. And right now we seem to be not able to hold above the 112. It's trying. There is a little bit of an upward trending support here. You can look at it this way, boom, boom, and we're hitting it right now. Is it going to wick back up and stay above this 112? That's what it needs to do. Otherwise, we're going to have some problems for Bitcoin. And then where would it go if it didn't? Well, you can keep extending this downward trending support, because as you can see, it has been downward trending with lower lows. We have a ceiling that is horizontal at the 123, but we have a floor that keeps getting lower lows. This was the biggest wick down right here. We did actually come down a little lower than that, as you can see here, to the 103 before bouncing and climbing out. Could be looked at as a double top. And this is the 4-hour chart right here. So that's what we're looking at. I did post in the Discord that I was getting out of, I think it was right about Right here, BTC needs to hold above the 112. This was yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I closed all positions in the short term in profit as I had stop loss moved into profits. However, we could see a big drop here. We'll update as I see it, but a lot to go over on tomorrow's call. So what was happening here is we kind of double topped here, guys, and we did not make a higher high on this climb. It is a problem. And then I posted a long on Ethereum because although Ethereum could drop along with Bitcoin, and it seems to be right now, Ethereum is in a giant bull flag, and this bluish area right here on Ethereum, this blue line was major resistance and has been support all this time. And we did wick all the way down and have long wick down before popping up and hitting the top again. And usually when that happens and we hit the top after a long wick down to retest previous support and resistance, and then we come down halfway, which is what we're doing right now, that's usually the bounce out. That's why I thought that would be a good entry point. So let's just look at ETH again real quick. That was on my other computer. So let me show it here and see what it looks like. This blue line right here is the 3960. We did hit the top, in my opinion. I know we have some wick throughs up here. We do have some, but none of these held as support above that line from this previous high here. So technically speaking, what I always do is I'll take a line straight across. Obviously, there's resistance there at that line. But we also have downward trending resistance and downward trending support, lower lows and lower highs. So there's a couple ways to look at it, but to me, it's still a big bull flag on Ethereum. And the most important part about Ethereum is, let me go to the weekly, is this. This is the situation. So going all the way back to over a year ago, in March of 2024, we had major resistance. And so as far as days go, I think it's August, September, October. Yeah, it's about what is that? 12 and 7 months. Yeah, it's about, I don't know, 18 months or so that we have been below this resistance line, and we did get above it, and we're holding it as support. That is a retest pattern. And look at all these long wicks to the downside. Very bullish on the wicks. The problem is that we need a breakout here. Obviously, we did get all the way up to almost 5K, 49.53 to be exact, on Ethereum. And this could be the time. I mean, it has to be the time. Otherwise, if it doesn't do it here, guys, then, it's going to spell something else. And so, but there's also this upward trending support going back a ways. Let me just go and find where this is coming from. This depends on how you look at these charts, but I'm on the weekly. So this is a higher time frame. We obviously had upward trending support here and resistance, and we broke through and held as support here. And we are coming back down to retest this here. Now, it did retest it a couple times, and we're also back up above this line. So to me, that's bullish. It is very bullish. We're also very far away on the weekly, very far away from the bottom of the RSI on Ethereum. Now, if I go over to, let's go look at the altcoin. This is Bitcoin. Bitcoin doing something interesting too, because if Ethereum breaks out and we do have an altcoin season, we could see Bitcoin also pump up. But Bitcoin doesn't necessarily have to make a new all-time high for altcoin season to take off. Altcoin season, Bitcoin doesn't have to do anything for altcoin season to take off, but also altcoin season doesn't have to take off. So let's go over here and look at futures. Hold on a second. Okay. Excluding BTC. All right. Go up to the weekly crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. This is kind of important here, guys. Pay attention. This is the big dipper. This is the big deal right here. So if you look at the crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin, we are above this line for the first time in like 1,500 days. Okay, we hit resistance, we got above it, but we did not hold above it here. We got above it, did not hold above it here. So this is 2024, this is 2021, this is 2021 back here. And we held above it. We're holding as support and actually making some higher highs. But this was that big wick down when we had the big dump all the way down to 1.18 trillion from 1.78 trillion market cap on altcoins, excluding Bitcoin. And we pop back up and we're holding as support on that line. So what does that mean? I mean, it could mean that altcoins are about to pop up. It totally could mean that. And this is what we need to see, obviously. So you need to like be watching on the crypto total market cap, that if altcoins can hold as support here, and we need to start getting higher. Obviously, we need to make higher highs here. So we do need to get above the 1.7 trillion on that. But this is a good sign that we are much closer rather to having an altcoin season or a big pop up to the upside than we have had in a long time, going all the way back to May of 2021. This is the first time we've gotten above it and actually held as support. None of these times did we do that on the weekly. So that is positive. And obviously this is the last day of, or not the last day, but the last week of October. We're going into November. There is something called a November surprise. And what it is basically, guys, is that November historically has been the highest gaining month in every bull market. So we should be looking for, if we're looking at things historically, if we're looking at repeatable patterns, and this is what we do as technical analysis traders, is that we look for all of these things that could mean something. Is it any one of these things that proves that this is going to happen or that's going to happen? No. But when you take them all into consideration and you realize that, oh, okay, well, this is just another thing. This is just another thing that is in our favor for another big parabolic move to the upside, is that November historically does that. And we are in the last 2 months of technically of a bull market. And when I say the last 2 months, I mean on the 12-month time frame, we have 2 months and 3 days left. You can see it over here on the 12-month chart, 2M3D, 2 months, 3 days. That's all that's left of this candle right here. We are in the final candle. And does that mean that there is no bull market after these 2 months and 3 days is over? No. All it means is historically, this is the fourth candle. And historically, There are 4 years in a bull market cycle. And this happens over and over and over again. So far, historically, it's what's happened every time going back to the beginning. There's only been 3 other bull market cycles from the beginning to now. And 3 times out of the last 3 times, the 4th candle represents the end of a bull market cycle. What part of it does? Well, whatever the top was. Okay. Whatever the top was.
Hey,
This is
Nico, on that,
the crypto market cap chart that I'm on. I'm not on Bitcoin, but let me go back to that. Go ahead. Someone said something.
yeah, Nico, on that total cap minus Bitcoin, looks like there's a peek at the surprise with that nice W that was there.
Was that on the time frame that I was on before this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me go back and look real quick. Yeah, right here.
Yep.
It does appear that way. I mean, that is a big one. And it would represent a big push to the upside. I mean, we could technically be. Does anybody want to know how to gauge how high up we would normally go from this? And generally speaking, it would be this could bring us up to a $5 trillion market cap on alts. That would be huge. Now, that is very generous of me to say, but even if we just got to 2 trillion, guys, even if we just got to 2 trillion, we don't really realize how big of a pump that is, because on the chart, it doesn't look like much, but it is big. And it probably represents this bullish flag type of pattern here. And that would be more likely. And that would be the equivalent of maybe a $10,000 Ethereum, $25 to $50 XRP, or $10 XRP for that matter. Doesn't matter to me. But and a lot of other altcoins riding along with that, if that were to happen. Well, if we go back over here, let me just show you this, what were we just talking about on BTC, time history on Bitcoin on that 12-month. What I was just saying is, and I know I've covered this a million times, but this wick at the top, guys, is getting longer. I mean, we went up to 126. It did come down. Don't get me wrong. It came all the way down to 75K during this course of this year, right? It went up to, 108, 109, and then came all the way down to 75 before pumping back up. So we got 2 months and 3 days left of this candle here, and it could certainly pump all the way up to 160, 170, 180, 200K within the next 2 months. But it could also not do anything and just kind of hover around here, maybe come down a little bit, maybe to 90, 91, and maybe fill that CME gap and then pump back up to 110, 120, 120, 130, 140. It could do all that in the next 2 months. That's happened. I mean, look at this one. This one went, from 37K all the way up to, well, actually, it went from 42K down to 37K all the way up to 108K and then back down within a very short period of time. 2 months after this candle closed, it went from 108 all the way down to 70 again. So in a 2-month period, it went from 108 down to 70 and back up to 126. So don't think for a minute this can't go up to 150 and back down, or back down to 95 and back up to 150. So it can happen very quickly, and it usually does in November and December. These are the last two generally. And when I say last 2 months, guys, I got to be very careful with what I say. Historically, the last 2 months of a bull market, because this is the 4th candle, and the first candle is the bear market, is the first candle after a bull market top. We have 4 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, bull market top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever this candle ends at is the top. Let me rephrase that. Not whatever this candle ends at is the top. Whatever the highest point of this year was when this candle ends was the top. As you can see here, this one went all the way up to 70K and came all the way back down to 46K actually went up to 68K, came all the way back down to 46K before this candle started. So this was the top, but all this happened during that time. So I do have to be careful what I say there, but this is usually the last candle. Now, it could be different this time. There are a lot of things that are different this time. Obviously, we talked about this over and over again. I keep repeating because I just want to be clear. I don't want anybody to say, in January or February, if we shoot to the moon in January, February, and it goes up to 300K for Bitcoin and altcoin seasons takes off, I don't even say, Nico, you said this couldn't happen. No, I didn't say it couldn't happen. I just said it never has happened yet on this fourth candle. It just hasn't happened yet. And in order for it to happen, this time has to be different. And the only reason I say that is because every bull market cycle, somebody always says, yeah, but this time is different. This time is different. We got this happening, this happening, this happening. But it's never different. We still have 4-year bull market cycles. 4-year bull and bear market cycles. It so far has never been different. But that doesn't mean it can't be in the future. It doesn't mean that things can't change and all of a sudden a huge event happens where we have a huge liquidity problem in the market. Because you know what could make this time different? If the Federal Reserve and the financial systems all switch over to digital currency and go on the blockchain, and all of a sudden, all of these ETFs and all of these stock market derivatives and all these things need liquidity, a huge bunch of money, trillions of dollars will come pouring into the crypto market in order to provide liquidity. And then, yes, this time could be different. Prices could shoot to the moon on a lot of things to be able to cover that. And so obviously that would be great for all of us holding crypto, but so you do got to be careful. You do got to be careful when playing this game. It's not a matter of, oh, this is definitely going to happen at this time, so I'm going to just prepare for it now. No, we have to play it by ear as it's happening, guys. That's why we trade. That's why we have stop losses and take profit targets, and why we use proper risk management in and out. Now, is it possible to go long in a bear market bottom and just ride it up for 3 years until it gets to the top and then close out that trade? Yeah. Could you have done that?
Nico, I have a question. I feel like I've asked it before, but I don't know if your answer regulated in my head the right way. So if we want to buy and hold XRP, say, wouldn't we want to possibly wait for the bear market to do that?
XRP?
Yeah. Or, I mean, any crypto, if we're holding it for a long time, wouldn't we want to buy it in the bear market?
It sounds like common sense. It sounds obvious to do that, right? But the problem is that with most cryptos, we do have bull and bear market cycles. And I mean, we have up to this point, but there will be a decoupling eventually. XRP is the only one that I know of that might possibly be used for something that could cause a move,
Parabolic move.
a move, not even parabolic, like ridiculous, like an event that could happen so quickly that I would just hate to wake up one day and XRP be 25 or $50. And is that possible for it to just happen overnight? Is the question. And so far, it has not so far. And this is why most people don't think it will, because, oh yeah, you guys have been saying that for 10 years now. XRP can't even get above $3 and blah, blah, blah. But what they're not taking into consideration is all the things that are going on behind the scene with XRP. And the reason why it was stalled out at under $3 for the past 10 years in the first place was because of its litigation with the SEC as a commodity, or as a whatchamacallit? I can't think right now. As a
security.
And so finally, but just over the last 12 months, did it finally win those lawsuits? And don't you think, I think it would have climbed along with Bitcoin over that time. maybe not to the same degree as Bitcoin because of the liquidity and the sheer volume or the amount of XRP that is in the marketplace, but it should have gone up in price over that time. And now that they've gotten those clears, now it also seems to be that there was a reason for that delay, and there was a reason for all that to happen. Maybe the powers that be had to get their ducks in order. They had to stall it out. They were hoping people would give up on it and sell it and get out of it. They were hoping probably to get to liquidate all that and for people to sell and they could buy it all out on the liquidate. They're probably hoping for that. But of course, there's the XRP army, there's the diehards and the people that have just held all this time. But by the way, if you've been holding that long, then you should be up quite a bit on XRP. I've had XRP since 15 cents. And I've also bought more at 49 cents. So I'm up quite a bit on it. And to say that it's never gone up or never done anything is ridiculous because it has. But not to the degree it can if there is this liquidity event. If there is this reverse trade event that could happen where all of a sudden they decide, okay, what are they waiting for? What do you mean decide? What do you mean flip a switch? It's not like that easy. It's going to seem like a switch was flipped, but what's really happening is all of the ducks have to be lined up to where all of these financial institutions are ready to now switch over to the decentralized or digital currency. And once that happens, it is going to be like a switch was flipped, in my opinion. And it's going to happen relatively fast. So should you wait for a bear market to buy? I don't think so. What I would do is dollar cost average. I would buy now, which I've been doing. I've been accumulating since 50 cents. And then if it does drop back down to, if there is a bear market and we drop back down to $1.80 for XRP, buy more. If it drops down to $1.50, buy more. And same with Bitcoin. You want to keep buying more on the dips. And this is counterintuitive. It is not what most people do. Just let's just be real. Most people, they want to stop the bleeding on the way down. So when it goes down after they bought high, because they usually most people buy high and sell low because they're not doing things the right way. They buy when there's a huge flood of buyers in the market, when there's euphoria and everybody's excited about it, when there's lines at the gold stores to buy gold. That is not the time to buy gold, but that's when everybody's buying. Because why? Because gold hit an all-time high. Well, why didn't you buy it when it was at an all-time low? Why didn't you buy it when it was much lower? Why are you waiting for it to get all-time high before you buy? And that's the mistake that most people make. So if it drops, yes, buy, of course. But I wouldn't wait for it to drop to buy because this might be the low. It did go to 380 already. So it already dropped down to what did XRP drop down to? 125 or something like that? It was at 380 and it dropped down to 125. What percentage of a drop is that? 60%, 70%? Isn't that usually what happens before a huge parabolic move to the upside? So yeah. If you didn't buy on that big dip, you might have missed that bear market for XRP. You might have missed that huge dump, but you still could buy it for under $3, which to me only seems like a lot now compared to buying it at $1.50 or $2. It only seems like a lot. But if XRP ever gets to $50 or $80 or $100 or $250 or $1,000, you're going to laugh at your hesitation to buy it at $3 or $4 or $5. It shouldn't even matter at this point. This is like still low. Okay. In fact, if XRP gets to $1,000 or $10,000, for instance, one day, you're going to laugh that you didn't buy it at 100 or 50, let alone 3. You're not going to laugh. You're going to cry. So do I think it will eventually get there? Yes. Do I know how long? No, I don't. I don't have a crystal ball. So whether it's 3 months or 3 years, I don't know, to be honest with you. But I do know it's in the works, and I do know that all the powers that be that would cause it, all the catalysts that need to happen in order for XRP to shoot up that high are not only happening, but they're in place. It's inevitable. That's the weird part about this, guys. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, but this would have to happen and this would happen." Yeah, but those things are happening. So why wait for them to happen before you make a decision? And I'm not trying to convince you. I mean, it might sound like I am, but I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You are responsible for your own investments. I'm doing it because I believe in it, but don't do it don't do it unless you believe in it. And do your own research, by the way. Don't just take my word for it. I know that you join this group because you want expert advice and expert, opinions and things like that. But guys, there's a big world out there of opinions and advice. And you know what opinions are like, as the old saying goes. So all I'm doing is I'm going to be prepared in case it does the best case scenario. And will I lose money if it does the worst case scenario? No, I just, if XRP drops back down to $1, for instance, and then there's news that comes out that the government is not going to use the Ripple network and that, Ripple is not going to do anything because they have something better. By the way, guys, have you guys sent XRP from one wallet to another? Have you sent XLM from one wallet to another? Stellar Lumens? Have you ever done that? And
Yes,
sent
it's
Bitcoin from one
so
wallet to
fast.
another? Bitcoin
Super
takes
fast.
like 30 minutes to show up in your other wallet. XLM takes like 3 seconds. By the time you even go to your other wallet to see if it's there, it's there. So this technology is crazy in compared to Bitcoin or anything else. So as far as the speed of transactions. So that is
I have
what
a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So obviously you're considering XRP much more valuable than Ethereum. This is what I was DMing you last night about my
No,
Ethereum trade and whether I should just close it out and transfer all of it to XRP or not.
Well, I saw that. And I just, right when you asked that, I just entered a long position on Ethereum. So I think Ethereum has a long way to go. If Bitcoin gets to $1 million and XRP gets to $1,000, you're probably going to be looking at a $25,000 to $30,000 Ethereum at least. But I'm accumulating Ethereum as well, guys. Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin are my 3 majors. And Ethereum, here's the thing about Ethereum. Ethereum is a pain in the ass. The gas fees are still not under control, but there are a lot of technologies out there that operate on the Ethereum mainnet and the Ethereum blockchain. So Ethereum is not going anywhere. Ethereum is going to be a utilitarian blockchain with all kinds of applications. And there are a lot of companies that are working on that blockchain and that technology. But I think when it comes to financial transactions, they might even have to use the Ripple settlement network. Ripple can settle things. Doesn't matter if you're transacting in Ethereum, US dollars, gold, or anything. Ripple will be the one settling behind the scenes. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, like, if I go and write you a check and I hand it to you, and we're at the bank and the bank grabs the check from me, I sign it, I endorse it, and they deposit it into your account. And you and I shake hands because I just bought something from you. What are they doing? Okay, this is a piece of paper I just wrote on, and they're depositing it, and it has to actually clear the Federal Reserve banking system. Yeah, the money might get deposited in your account right away, but that check still has to go to, like, Chicago. Believe it or not, that physical check has to literally go to Chicago first, like some ridiculous thing, right? This is how we've been operating for the last 100 years. And it'll show pending in your deposits on your checking account until the next day, right? You may not even have access to it. It might not even be available to you. It'll show your deposit. It'll show pending. You might not even be able to withdraw or transfer that out of your account until the next day or until that check clears. And some banks will hold that check for a week to 10 days until it clears to make sure first before that money's even available to you. What Ripple is going to do and what this technology is going to do is going to clear these things instantaneously. It is like stepping into the future as far as technology goes. It's like the most ridiculous thing in the world that we've been doing it that way for so long, right? So with that being said, no matter what medium of exchange it is, they might still use the Ripple mainnet, the Ripple network, in order to clear the transactions. You might pay somebody with Bitcoin, but maybe Ripple will be behind the scenes clearing the transaction. You might pay somebody with, Ethereum or something like that. You might pay somebody with USDC or USDT, but on the Swift network, but they might be clearing it the clearinghouse behind the scenes might be the Ripple network, and you will not know, you will not see that. But in order for Ripple to be able to handle that many transactions on a daily basis around the world, the price of XRP will need to be a certain price. And it needs to be a certain value in order to handle that volume. And so that's where you can make money, and that's where you can front run the institutions before that happens. And no other time in history that I'm aware of have the regular people been able to front run the institutions and the banks and the networks. And that's probably why they took so long to get all this in order. Probably why behind the scenes, who knows? Maybe that was all a front with the SEC to do all this, to buy time for all these banks and all these institutions to get set up. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. And if it even just goes up to $100, some of you will make tons of money. But I do think that $25, $50, $100, $250 is inevitable. $1,000 certainly possible, and some people think much quicker than most people think. And even 10,000, 50,000, even $1 million. Is it possible for XRP to be $1 million? Yeah, it actually is possible. If $10 trillion worth of transactions have to be done per day around the world, and XRP is responsible for them, it would have to be that high. So is that going to happen anytime soon? No, but it's possible. Sure. It doesn't have to do with cap rate. A lot of people think, oh, well, the market cap is, there's no way because there's too many of them. It has to do with what it's being used for in this case. But
yeah, that's why I was thinking about possibly switching my Ethereum trade to XRP.
well, you did good. You made a lot of, you don't need to talk about it if you don't want to, but you did really good on that trade. And that's yeah,
But that's a good amount to put into XRP.
That's a life-changing amount. If you I've accumulated that amount of XRP in value of dollars over the last couple of years, but just to put it all in once right now, that could be life-changing. If XRP goes to $1,000, you can do the math on how much you would have. But yeah, I mean, even if you just did half of it, that way you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. But
Thanks.
Because if Ethereum goes up to 5 or 6K or 10K, which it will, there's no doubt in my mind that Ethereum will hit 10K. It's just a matter of when, and I don't know when if it's going to be this bull market or next. And do you really want to ride that trade all the way back down? No, you don't. But I don't know if it will go down. This is the problem, guys. A lot of questions are crystal ball questions, and I don't have the answers. No one does. So what we do is we look at supply and demand, and we look at support and resistance. And there are certain lines that have to be held in order for us to make a new high. And there's certain lines that if they're broken, it'll be done for this cycle.
Can we jump to XRP in a minute when you're done with this one?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Can we jump to XRP when you're done with Bitcoin? I don't know if you're done with Bitcoin yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin is just moving slow. And, I think that there still is a potential for a big move for Bitcoin to the upside. But guys, I will be perfectly honest with you. There's just as much potential for this to be the top, because, I mean, not potential, but there is nothing showing me on the chart yet that we are going to have this huge pump to the upside, other than we're still holding above 112, which is obviously very important. But there are things that I could show you that look like, I mean, look at down here, guys. We're on the weekly on the RSI, and we've kept making lower lows, and it's going down. The purple line is below the yellow line, which is the moving average, and we're dropping. And that's not necessarily good for the price. Now, that's if you're hodling and you're worried that your value of Bitcoin is going to go down in value. Okay, yes, I can understand the concern. But even if we drop down to 91,000 for Bitcoin, which, why would it, right? Well, it would, because there is a CME gap right there. And there's also major support and resistance down here at the 97K range. And we are in a downward trending support line and we have not made a new high, and we keep hitting resistance here at the 115 and can't get above it. So is it possible that we just break through this 112, retest, and drop down again lower? Yeah, possible. And then if we broke through that, we do have a CME gap right about here, which has not been filled yet. Is that possible? Yeah. Is that scary? Not to me, because that would be a great entry, by the way, for a long back up. And that's usually what would happen if that were to happen. And yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it. Plus, we'll make money if BTC drops below the 112. There's shorting opportunities to accumulate more on the way down. If it breaks below the 97, definitely a big opportunity to make money on the way down. And if it breaks below that, the CME gap down even lower, then even more opportunities all the way back down to this level again, which was the previous all-time high back here at 73K. And we tested it here. I don't suspect that we're going to come down that low. I think that, and we don't have to even fill the CME gap on this time around, but it is not really that far away. But it is about as far. It is about as far as the all-time high. We're kind of in the middle of those two things. We got about 12K to go. We got about, I don't know, 15K to go to get back to all-time high.
No,
and if we were to
that's
drop
stress.
15K, guys, we would be right down to these levels here. All right, so that's Bitcoin. We'll get back to that, but let me go over and look at XRP here, because
Nico, when you get a chance, I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
As far as the Gaussian channel, where do we stand with that?
Good question. I mean, we did wick down into it right here and we bounced, but I will show you something, guys. This is interesting, is that usually when we do wick into it and bounce, wicked into it, bounce, if we don't make a higher high, then we can get sucked back into it. This is bringing us down to the middle line here. Back here, we touched it, bounced, did not make a higher high, got sucked into it, bounced on the middle line, did not make a higher high, came back down to the middle line and bounced before we got out of it. That was after a bear market right here. Bull market, bounce, got sucked into the middle line, boom, went below the middle line, got all the way up to getting out of it, could not get out of it, came back down to the middle line, bounced out, did not make a higher high, it was a double top, and then got sucked into it. That was the beginning of a bear market. And in this bull market, guys, we bounced on it, bounced on it, bounced on it. Like this time right here, back when we hit 73.8, where we just got above the previous all-time high, 280 days, 7 months, we went into this bearish bull flag accumulation phase. And we bounced on it here, did not make a higher high, got down to the center line, bounced, did not make a higher high, got sucked down into it again. And from here, which was August 3rd to here, when we broke out, was October 12th. 2 months going down. Here we bounced on it, lower high, went down to the center line. Here we bounced on it. All of this is looking very familiar, guys, if you just look at it. I mean, when we bounce on this, and we bounce, we usually do bounce. If it doesn't make a higher high and it barely gets out of the top of it, we could get sucked back down into it. And so we bounce on it and we are not making a higher high yet. So what, and by the way, the Gaussian channel is going up at the same time that this is all happening. And the Gaussian channel is like the green fog. It's like quicksand. And yeah, so if we can't get above 115 and stay out of, right now we're out of it. Right now we are not in the Gaussian channel, but this is where the price, where we're at, this green line. And we already went all the way up to the 115.8, could not break through and came all the way back down. So we are kind of dropping. I mean, we're down below 112 again, just since we've been talking.
Does it matter the time frame
Yes.
on that Gaussian channel?
5-day. The 5-day chart is the most accurate. If you go to the 4-day, you'll see we're already in it. The 3-day, we already went down to the what you don't want to see is on the 3-day, this turned red. If this turns red on the 3-day, like it did here, I mean, this one was on its way out. The reason why it turned red is because we were probably below the center line for a while. But usually when we turn red, it's usually a sign of things to come. So if we go, it doesn't mean anything on the 3-day, but when you see red on the 3-day, then you can look at the 4-day and the 5-day and see what happened after that. So let's go back, because generally when you see red on the 5-day, we hit the middle line, we bounce, we get below the center line, and we hit the bottom, and then we retest the center line and get stuck underneath it, can't get back above it. This turns red, and that is usually the beginning of a bear market. So we're still green. We're still not sucked into it. We're not down to the center line yet, but the Gaussian channel is heading up on the 5-day and the price is coming down towards it. That's not a good combination. And not only that, but we had like a triple top up here at 123. We couldn't get above.
What drives the Gaussian channel?
I mean, it's just it's an indicator that takes into a lot of different things into effect. You'd have to like Google the description of it, the founder or the inventor of it. And there's a couple pro traders that I followed back in the day that swore by it. And they said only on the 5-day. And if you look at this going back, guys, I mean, just look at history on Bitcoin. And what does it mean? So bull market, this was the bull market run up over above the Gaussian channel back in 2010. We come down and wick down to it. We stayed above it. We went up to a bull market top here, $32. So we wick down to it, bounce, lower high, get sucked into it. Technically speaking, that was a bear market. We didn't get out of it till that was back in, we got into the Gaussian channel in September 11th or September 8th in 2011. And we didn't get out of it until July 9th of 2012. We get out of it, test, we stay above it, stay above it, stay above it, bull market top. We come down and retest it, we bounce on it, and we run all the way up. This was a big bull market here in 2013. We hit the top, we come down, we wick into it, bounce on it, wick to the center line. That was it, beginning of a bear market. Next one, bull market top, 2017. Wick down, touch it, bounce. Don't make a higher high, get sucked into it, beginning of a bear market. We get out. We got back in. This was the first time we ever got out in the end of a bear market and got literally sucked back in for a little while. Boom, we got out of it. Bull market, bull market, bull market, 68K. I mean, 65K. This is the last bull market, 2021. Bounced on it, did not make a higher high, got sucked into it, went all the way down to 30K. So from 65K down to 28K, that was like a 50% drop in Bitcoin. And then we climbed up into the top of the Gaussian channel, climbed up to the top of it, came back down to the center line, and we did pop out of it for a brief moment. That's when we hit 68K. That was considered a double top. And then we got back into it, and that was a bear market. So I don't know how to explain it or what all the indicators it's indicating, but if you just look at history on the 5-day chart, every time we get sucked into it, usually beginning of a bear market. So now in this bull market, guys, we've been above it all this time. We hit it a couple times and we pulled back out, hit it again, pulled back out, and we're dipping our toes into it again. How many more times is that going to happen? I don't know. I don't know, especially coming into the end of the year, at the end of a normal cycle. You got to take all these things in consideration, but that's what it is. That's what it is right now. That's where we're at. Google description of Gaussian channel, and it's It is Gaussian, Gaussian. Gaussian.
I posted it in the chat.
Oh,
It's
thank
in
you, bro.
chat.
And let's go back to. This is ETH. I still believe that we still got we got time, first of all, guys. We got time for everything to move to the upside. I'm not doom and gloom. I'm not negative on a bull market or a pro bear market. I'm just pragmatic, and I look at all these things and I try to make intelligent decisions so that I can make the best decision as far as where I'm going to be entering and exiting. And I hope you guys would appreciate that. I'm not here to blow smoke up anybody's skirt or, tell you, don't worry, guys, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million someday and it's better to get in now. I'm not that person. Okay. I'm not a hypium or a hopium. I'm not smoking hopium. I look at reality. I look at the charts. I look at what's actually happening on the charts. I don't even care what anybody says on the news. I don't care what Trump says. I don't care what Elon Musk says. Because unless what they say affects what's happening on the charts, then listen, people lie. As one famous YouTuber says, men lie, women lie, but the charts don't lie. And I've observed that to be true. All right, so here's XRP. What's XRP doing? XRP is still in this nice little wedge. It's in a apex. Let's go to the daily. And there is a nice W formation on XRP after bouncing on the upward trending support after a huge wick to the downside. Is it likely for this to happen again right now? No. On the weekly, or on the daily rather, on the RSI, it's climbing from the bottom. That's good. We got room to move up, right? We are also bounced on this support and a nice W, and it's green. The current candle is green right now. So let's just see. Let's just take a line from the bottom of the W to the top of the W, and that would bring us right to this downward trending resistance line. So I do think that we are going to pump soon, at least up to there. And Bitcoin, everything would have to go up for that to happen. But is it possible that we go down first before that happens? Yeah, we could come down and retest the moving average right here. 50-day moving average. But I did get out of my longs on that and Bitcoin because I saw what Bitcoin's doing. And right now, everything still seems to be correlating with Bitcoin. The only reason I went long on Ethereum is because the entry point of the actual bull flag was coming down to the center line, which historically, I always tell you guys, is that usually, and before we have a breakout of a bull flag, two things have happened. We hit the top and we came down to the center line. But before that, what has to happen before that even makes this valid is that we had a wick down to previous support and resistance. And we did. We had a huge wick down. And then we climb up, we hit a top, we hit the bottom, and we come up to the top and we come down to halfway mark. Once we come down to the halfway mark, and the reason why I call that the halfway mark is because of this. Let me just go and do a parallel channel here. We'll just take this line right here. We'll drop it down to this one here, and you can see, look at that dotted line in the middle. That's the center line, and we are bouncing on it right now. Not only bouncing on it, but we wicked right down to it. Bam, right there. After wicking up to the top again. So to me, does that mean it's going to break to the upside right now? No, but it usually, when it does break to the upside, this happened first. So now that I'm seeing this happen, and not only that, we got a nice big W as well. So could it mean that this is about to pop? It could. And so what I do is, this is a risk. It's a calculated risk. It's not a guarantee, but the odds are that if this plays out the way it usually does when those scenarios happen, we could get back above this downward trending channel. And does that mean we're going to go to a new all-time high? No, but we could have another one of these and it could look like this. Let's just touch the tops of all these, and then that would bring us up to probably right around $1,430 for Ethereum, which would be a nice little long position if you got in here on the center line. That's why I put an entry there. Now I am negative on that trade. I was positive a couple hours after I placed the long position, but I am negative on it right now, about $185. I'm not concerned about it. I do have a stop loss, and that is actually on Ethereum USDT. So let's go over there and look at it.
Hey, Nico, with structured analysis and indicators, from what I've seen, I could be wrong. You guys will correct me, but it seems like with the indicators, the W or the M's on the bottom of the right leg, if it's lower than the left one, it drops further before it does the reversal. If the lower right leg, like there, the W is a little lower than the left one, with the exception of that huge wick that went down, that it'll drop further before it goes up. Others I've seen where the bottom of the right leg seems to be higher than the bottom of the left leg. When it comes down, it doesn't drop down as much.
Yeah, it's a good observation. And I've noticed that depending on the shape of the W, that does have some correlation. So let's look at it. Depends on the time frame you're looking at as well. But if you look at it, I'm on the daily here. So this would be the left side of the W, and this is the right side. What he's saying is the right side is lower, a little bit lower than the left side. So this tends to come down further before we break out to the upside. Let me just refresh this, and let's look at it on the 4-hour. That was the daily. For some reason, and I got to get with Phemex, but when I'm on USDT on some of these charts, it's very, very choppy. I mean, it's not moving smoothly, but it does fine on a coin margin, which is very strange. So yeah, we have come down, and but where have we come down to? We've also come down to, we're still in this sideways channel that goes back. This is just a support and resistance channel going back a bit. And as you can see, we have support here, we have support here, and we have support here, and support here, support here. We have resistance here, and we have support here. And so this little channel here is some type of between the 3,800 and the 4,000 range, some type of support and resistance channel. So that's why I have it on here. Whether I was hoping that we would hold above that, and we were for a minute there. And then that would have been a nice bounce to complete this W. If this W ends up coming all the way down first, before breaking out to the upside, it may not be a W. It could just be, it could eliminate itself, but we would still have what appears to be higher lows at the bottom. And normally they just normally don't come down that far before breaking up to the upside. Does depend on what time frame though you're looking at, guys. So if we go to even a higher time frame, what's the most accurate time frame? The thing to me that you want to look at also, what am I on? I'm on Ethereum right now. But the thing you want to look at is this. This is one of the more important aspects of this whole thing, is that this previous resistance level that goes all the way back for over a year is what we're above and holding as support right here. And that is the most important thing. What the hell's going on with these charts? Most important thing here with Ethereum. We need to stay above that. Let's look at XRP again. We got to get out of this USDT. Got a nice W on XRP as well. And it is consolidating, which means to me, it's looking like it's about to pop to the upside right here. Sometimes this rounded off curving action here could mean that it's going to come back down, but not always. So here's the way I would look at it. I would look at it as a nice, maybe possibly even a falling wedge. Falling wedges are a little bit bullish, and it is a W. So we got a W with a potential bull flag, with a potential break to the upside, which could bring us right back up to, this level on the break, which would bring us right back up to 280, 290, 288, 290 on XRP, at least in the short term. I can certainly see that happening. Since we've already come down here, we wicked way below it, and then we held support here and climbed higher and made higher lows and created a W, and we're in a bullish flag, all bullish, all those things. Also, when you look at on the 4 hour, when you look at the RSI, we do have higher highs here and higher lows. We did get above the 70 on the RSI, but we have the potential to get above it and then get above it even higher. Broke above it.
That's a good example, Nico, of what I was trying to say, where the lower level of the left W leg and the right W there, the right lower point is higher than the left.
Yeah.
So in things I've seen, it seems like it doesn't drop nearly as much. If it were the other way around and the right leg dropped down further than the lowest point on the left leg, it drops further before it goes back up.
Yeah. This is what we call upward slanting. This is an upward slanting W. Everything is looking up on this one. We have a higher low and even higher highs here, if you look at it that way.
So Nico, on this one, the red line, you wouldn't set, or your yellow line, you wouldn't set your order or your order until it gets above that yellow line?
Normally that would make sense. Yeah, normally, but unfortunately, it'll be up here by the time you notice it when it breaks out. And so you could do that, what you just said, or you could say, you know what? 4 out of the 5 boxes have been checked. We got a W pattern, which tend to break to the upside. We've already bounced on the bottom and already had a long wick down to the downside and held support on the upward trending support line. And we have popped all the way back up, completing the W, which is bullish, and created a bull flag on the right arm of the W, which is bullish. And it brings us exactly, if it were to break out, to the top of the downward trending resistance. That's a lot of bullish stuff happening right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and go long now and hope for the best. That's one way you can do it. And in case you're wrong about that, you just put your stop loss right about here under this long wick. That's something you can do. I would say that the lowest, I would put my stop loss probably below, or right around 250 if I were to do that. In fact, I'll do it right now. Screw it. I'll go long right now. I wasn't a long. I closed it out because of that, because of what Bitcoin's doing. But
I was thinking about setting a limit order right at or above the yellow line, and then maybe it'll hit that maybe today after the news, and then I wouldn't be in it in negative until it actually did something.
yeah, you can do that. This is XRP margin here, so I'm just going to go long here. And hopefully my liquidation is far away. It is. It's way down here. And I'm going to put a stop loss under 250 because it's possible that this comes down, double bottoms here, and completes this falling wedge before it breaks out. But it also would, if it does, it would probably come to this level here, which is the previous resistance level. You can see here, resistance, resistance, breakthrough, support, and it could come down and bounce on that first, which would complete this falling wedge, and it would be a nice, if it did do that. I'm not saying it's going to do that, but if it did, I would want my stop loss to be under this. So I'm going to put my stop loss at probably around $2.53 to be on the safe side for the time being. I'll change it later if I see it going up. That's 20%.
And wouldn't that line up, Nico, with the whale order that's put out there for the long at 127 million? I know you post that in your channel, your signals, that there was a whale that opened in long order for 252.97, it looks like, right?
Yep.
So that sounds like that would line up pretty well.
Yep, and I forgot, I didn't even think about this, but you're right, it does. And the reason why they probably did that is because you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at.
Right.
This possibly coming down and bouncing on that level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've kind of targeted that as an area of interest for XRP for reentry. I mean, I hold a lot of XRP, but more for a leverage trade, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to note something since we're on the XRP topic, because someone told me this once and I haven't been able to unsee it. But if you zoom out on XRP, over the last 8 years, it's actually formed a massive W. So if you zoom all the way out on XRP since 2018 at the peak of, I think it might have been an all-time high, right? And then you look at it from a zoomed out time frame, you'll just see that it's one giant W. So for me, that means it's probably one of the most bullish cryptocurrencies out there. That's how I feel, but I think there's a lot of other reasons why.
Not counting the utilitarian or the utility aspect of it, but I think this is what you're talking about here, this big W.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, look at that, guys, this big pump up from down here, back when we were at 49 cents. And by the way, we were in a long back here in our group. The reason why is because we were waiting for an announcement from the SEC. And this was what it looked like back then. We were waiting for an announcement, and it was in this thing going on here, and we had our long set here at 59K. We were in this, we were right around here, it was bouncing on the bottom, and we had our stop loss set right under this in case we were wrong. If they ruled against XRP, bam, we knew it was probably going to drop. And we were okay with it. We didn't really know what was going on with XRP, and it was approved. And that was a crazy pump to the upside. And there's somewhere in our group, we post the wins in the wins wall, the gain on that. It was like 1,100 and 1,600% or something like that. 583% move to the upside, but we were at, with leverage. And I don't even think we didn't get out. We didn't hold it all the way up here. We got out like down here. Because we thought that was just going to be an exciting pump and then it was going to come back down. But it never came back down to those levels. And I don't think it will.
No. I don't see it ever hitting those levels again unless we hit an extreme, maybe for a moment, a flash, in the next bear market. I think one of the things that's unique about XRP too, that from what I understand, is that the multiplier in XRP is what makes it it moves so fast. And when there's a squeeze, you're gonna see it at extreme levels.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what I got drawn up here on this.
Which also explains during that liquidation event why it went from, around $3 down to $1.20 or something on some charts.
Yeah. Well, this is where we're holding right now, guys. We are in a big apex. We are in a wedge, but it is bouncing on this support. And we do have, I mean, this is on a higher time frame here, but we also have this. So we're in a couple wedges. We're in a wedge, an apex inside of an apex, inside of an overall upward trending. But I'm personally excited about XRP more than I've ever been. That's for sure. With all the changes and all the things happening, I don't even care about regulation and centralization and all that stuff. Or, obviously there's not much we can do about switching from, our money supply over to a digital currency. I mean, that is the sign of the times. Most people don't like changes and they think, oh, well, that's, giving the government the opportunity to spy on us and turn our money off. But that's a CBDC talking point that has been already squashed, I think, by the current administration and the Genius Act, which is all built in there that that's supposedly not going to happen. But even if it is, even if it does, a lot of people think, oh, you got to get your money out of the bank or it's going to go, the dollar's going to go to zero. I don't think that's how it works, guys. I don't think the value of your paper money, if they were to switch everything over to digital currency, whatever dollar amount you have in the bank is going to be the same. The purchasing power thing might even be stronger after they do that because they'll have it backed by something like Bitcoin or something like a stable coin like USDC or Ripple stablecoin or USD coin, whatever it is, whatever the stable coin is, US dollar. So I don't think now cash, on the other hand, might not be accepted. We could go to a cashless society. I could see that possibly happening someday in the future. Do I want that? No, I like cash. I think cash is good. And I think there's certain unbankable people should be able to use cash. And I don't think that they're going to do away with that right away. But who knows? Maybe they will. And even if they do, it doesn't mean your cash will be worthless. They'll basically just tell you need to turn it in. You bring it to the bank and then they give you the equal amount in digital dollars. Right? Because they're trying to get it off the streets. That would make sense. They're not going to deem it useless or worthless. In my opinion, I don't think they would do that. But I think there's a lot of fear mongering out there. A lot of people trying to tell you that that's going to happen, but I just can't see that happening in our lifetime. This is all supposed to be for the benefit of not the people necessarily, but the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar, because we would have a collapse of the dollar, and that's kind of where we were headed. We're headed for a dollar value collapse, stock market collapse, the U.S. currency losing its value, going down to, or unless they make these changes, unless they're able to pull this move off and switch us over and use some kind of stable coin as a backing or some other kind of asset, gold, for instance. If it wasn't for crypto, it would be gold. Gold would be the normal choice to put us back on the gold standard. And that sounds like something Trump would want to do. But if you believe that Trump doesn't have anybody to answer to and that he can just do whatever he wants, yeah, I'm going to beg to differ with you on that. I'm going to say that Trump still has to follow some type of, he's got to work with the Federal Reserve. He's got to work with all of these different banks around the world in order for this to make sense for the rest of the world, in addition to just Trump in the U.S. He's just not, if he just saves America, at what cost to everyone, to everything else? And there's a lot of people out there that believe that's what he's trying to do. But trust me, if the powers that be didn't want it to happen, he would be gone. He would already be gone, in my opinion. Oh, but they tried to kill him a couple times. Give me a break. If they wanted him gone, he'd be gone. You don't try to kill somebody. You just do it. The kings are in Congress. Need to clean house. Speaking of gold, they never did verify the gold at Fort Knox, did they? A good one, Norman. I'm not sure. Somebody went and looked. Did Elon Musk go and look on that? Can't remember. That's right, Bill. Does anyone know if the Genius Act passed? Is there no crypto tax? I believe that is in the process. I believe it was voted. Yes, the Genius Act passed both chambers of Congress and was signed into law by President Trump. It establishes a regulatory framework for payment stable coins in the United States. Genius Act, officially known as the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, has successfully passed through both chambers of Congress. Senate approval, the Senate passed the Genius Act on June 17th with a bipartisan vote of 68 to 30. So it passed unanimously. House approval, bill on July 17th, 308 to 122. President signed it into law on July 18th. Purpose of the act: establishes a federal regulatory framework for payment stablecoins, focusing on consumer protection, financial stability, and anti-money laundering compliance. It requires stablecoins to be backed one for one by US dollars or other low-risk assets, ensuring transparency. So, guys, that's what I was just talking about a minute ago. I mean, they're going to use stablecoins to prop up the US dollar or vice versa.
And Nico, do you mind taking a look at Virtual's protocol? I've been on that one and I've seen some pretty big gains on it, and curious to see
Which
what your
one?
opinion. It's called Virtual Protocol.
It's on
It's on Phemex.
well, interesting. I mean, it looks like it did break out of a downward trending resistance line, and it held as support, and it made higher highs.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of curious what your thoughts are on it. If it will come back down to that trend line or if it'll keep moving up. I mean, I'm in a trade now and it's been good for me, but trying to decide to stay in it or get out of it.
It's holding support at it's holding this upward trending support line right here
Yeah.
on the 4-hour, but that's what I would wait for. I would wait for it to either break out here at $1.58.
Yep.
Or below this upward trending line here.
Yep.
If I were going to trade this, I would draw exactly the way I just drew it. And then I would say, and I would probably come down to the 1-hour time frame and say, okay, I'm just waiting. Is it going to break to the upside here? And this time it broke to the upside, but as you can see, it did not hold.
Right.
So don't just wait for a wick above. What you want to wait for is to go above and hold the support and then climb higher than where it broke out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Or
that's what I drawn up too, but I'm still getting comfortable with the chart, so I wanted to get your opinion on it.
yeah, no, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I was thinking it could break down too, and then potentially retest at that lower trend line and then come back up maybe, but I don't know.
It could also break to the downside and only retest to here.
Right.
Because it is in a little bit of a channel here sideways where we have resistance, where after it broke out of here, it came up and had resistance and it did retest. It broke out and held a support here. And then this was a huge whipsaw action here where it whipped up and then whipped all the way back down and still held there. And now it's slowly climbing. So chances are it's going to break to the upside, but if it breaks to the downside, you know, I don't think it's going to come up. It might not come all the way down to here. It could just come to here,
Okay. Yeah, fair.
stay in this sideways channel.
Yep. Okay.
And it probably will touch this again first before that happens.
I'm tracking it. It seems like a good one because it has a lot of upside potential. So
Now, notice, guys, everything's red on USDT. Look at this. Everything's red. Let's scroll down and see if we can find something. Oh, look at this one. Trump coin. What's going on with Trump coin? Why is it up 15% today? Everything else is down. Oh, we
Look
got
at
a
that
big
W.
W. Look at that. Big W and breaking to the upside of the W. There's the top. Here's the what does that mean? Coming down to retest. W, breakout, retest. Possible pump getting ready to happen. Where would that take it? Let's go back over here and look. Oh. It would take it right to this little middle, the middle of this. This is interesting. Yeah, let me go to a higher time frame and see this. I mean, there is some support, resistance, support, resistance right at that level. Probably where it's going. Could go. It'll be ironic that it would break out to right there. Support and resistance level right about there. That'll probably where it's coming to. If I were to guess. Which is right at the $9.58 range. I mean, it did break this long running downward trending resistance line after that big dump down. Holy cow. I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, that was that went down to $1.50. And it's at 8.20 right now. Went up to 8.50. So $8.50 divided by $1.50 equals almost a 6x. That would be like Bitcoin dropping down to, what did Bitcoin drop down to during that big dump? 104 or something like that?
103 something. Pretty sure.
Quick
That would be
question.
like Bitcoin dropping down to 103 and jumping back up to 600,000.
Quick question, Nico.
Yeah.
Could you go back and historically look at like maybe what whales were on the inside of this and shorted prior to that? If you think there's somebody that's got the knowledge that that's coming.
Trump
Could
coin?
you see the vault? Any of them. I mean, somebody that
Well, this is where it
made a
launched.
buttload of money on a short right
Yeah.
before everything tanked. Can you see wallets that did something of that nature, or is that
Yes.
nothing you're ever going to find?
Yeah, there was a wallet that's already kind of exposed, famous. I don't know whose wallet it was. Some people are saying it was Donald Trump's son. I don't know if that's true or not. That shorted, like, anybody know the details of that? Right before the big tariffs before the tariff announcement, it was like a 30 million or $80 million short. Right before the announcement. And he made like 300 million or something like that on that short, or something ridiculous like that. But I don't know who. But I just scroll down here and find ones that are not correlating with Bitcoin and the rest of the big players. You got Trump coin, obviously, the one we're just looking at. Keep scrolling. There's probably one that's even much higher than that. Look at that. OL USD pumping for some reason. What's going on with this one? That's a daily. This is the daily. It was at 2 cents all the way up to 4.5 cents. So that is a 2.5x. That would be like Bitcoin going from 115,000 to $230,000 in one day. But I don't know anything about this token or what its purpose is or why it's pumping, but you can see here there is some downward trending resistance. And if it breaks through that, might be something worth looking at. Needs to get above this and hold, and then might be out of the, needs to hold above this little apex right now that it's in, that it got back into. If it just falls back below this line, this is where it fell out of back on the 10th, when everything took a dump back then, right? So now it's just climbing back up to get back above this upward trending support. It was upward trending before that happened. It was winding into an apex before that happened. So now it's just getting back up to where it was, possibly ready for a breakout. Might be one to watch. Sapien. What in the world is going on here? Sapien. Well, that is from 12 cents to 20 cents just today so far. 40, saying 45% in the last 24 hours, but it might be more than that. But this looks very similar. Some kind of upward trending support, resistance, and would need to get back above that to be back in this upward trending channel, whatever this was up here, whatever it was in. It's trying to get back above that. If it does and holds the support here, then we possibly could see this one run up quite a bit. This is, guys, if you're new in here, this is how you see, if you go into the wins wall, this is where you see these types of gains. Look at Arash here, 770%, 300%, 192, 124. You know, it's multiple triple digits. And it's on crazy coins that you never heard of before. Jupe, QTUM, APU, WLD, TIA, Solana, Doge, Moondang, Wi-Fi, or Waifu, or Wife, WIF, Ondo. So it's just, you know, doesn't have to be Bitcoin, guys. There's a lot of money to be made. Clanker. There's so many different things happening at once. I can't possibly keep track of them all. That's why I'm showing you how to find them. You just go down here and look, and you can see the ones that are not correlating. They're doing something totally different. Just since we've been talking, Trump coin's up another 3%. It was 15%, 14% when we first looked at it. Sapien 45%. I mean, we don't even get excited over the 5% moves anymore. It's like ridiculous. Jelly, jelly. And DBR down here, 24%, 19%. I mean, this one, as you can see, has huge wicks, huge pumps, and then pullbacks. Huge pump, pullback, pump, pullback. So to me, this is not the time to get in something like this. Usually you see that it's probably going to pull back, as it always has. I don't even know where to start this, but usually, I guess, if you're looking at something like this, as soon as it gets down here is when you would get ready for the next pump up. Aaron, a little ketchup on the ear never hurt anyone, especially with how many Big Macs he eats. Ah, yeah, they're all kissing his ass right now. CZ most likely has been. He just pardoned Binance guy, CZ. I forget his name. Gene CZ is the founder of. Oh yeah, Marlon's answering your questions. Binance former CEO, billionaire, crypto guy. Bree, Nico, do you know anything about Caspa? No, but I can look at it. It's not on Phemex unless it's called something else. Is it just CAS? I don't know if this is Caspa here. It's just CAS. But something very obvious about it. Got a little bit of a falling wedge type of pattern here, guys. That could be bullish. I don't know what it looked like before this because this is all that's showing up on the charts, but I would wait for a breakout to the upside here, and that's a good long. Yeah, we'll check Koa out in a second. Holy cow, what's going on with Zcash? Well, obviously, guys, this is upward trending. I really don't know why. But we do have a nice little upward trending channel forming here on Zcash. Holy shit. It's like 6x. I mean, what this has done, just in the last month and a half is equivalent to the entire Bitcoin bull market.
Arthur Hayes said that it was going to $10,000.
Looks like it might be on its way.
Yeah, it said it already touched its all-time high, I think from 2021 or something like that. It's been around for a while though.
Yeah, it is.
What's the premise of this coin going to $10,000?
Say again?
What's the premise of this coin going to $10,000? What is
somebody
there
else
some
would
kind
have
of
to
use
answer
case
that.
behind it, or?
I think it's a privacy coin, but I don't remember exactly. Somebody will know who just mentioned the person. I think that was Kimmel.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's a privacy coin.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Koa did Co-AI rather did break down. It's a big M pattern. And this is not looking good for this one, even though it did have its nice big pumps. We did make some money on it. It does look like it's falling below. Let's go to a little bit lower time frame here, and it did it retest. It looks like it did. So we had support, breakthrough, resistance, and dropping. Where's it dropping to? My previous resistance here. It's hitting that right now. I would say that the next one after that is going to be more of a range between somewhere in this range here. Kind of in that range now, broke below it and is retesting now. So it could retest here and then continue down to the bottom of that range. I personally am staying out of this because I don't know what's causing this drop. But if it, if this is because first of all, it's too new on this platform. Usually a big M pattern like this could bring a giant dump, but how low? How low can this even go? Can't go negative. So we're already down to 0 right about here. Right there would be 0. But it certainly could come and retest that. That's where it was here. $0.14 all the way up to, holy smokes, $35. That was a major pump and dump right here, guys. Syrup. We were watching this a while ago. Obviously, it broke to the downside of an upward trending channel here and retested. And then it's just kind of going downward. I mean, this could be bullish. You got to wait for it to break out. What are we positive? Oh, everything's in the green right now. Let's go down here and look. ETH, I'm up $123. Bitcoin's up 13%, 3%. Let's go look. Bouncing. This is Bitcoin bouncing a little bit on this upward trending support. Still got to get above this 112, guys. It's just hovering. I mean, it is holding above 112. It's just, I mean, it's a 111.7 right now, so it's like right on the edge. It literally needs to get above this blue line right there. doesn't know what it needs to do. Ethereum is bouncing on that center line. Bounce, double bottom. Hopefully we pump. Maybe everything will pump. And then XRP, everything needs to pump right now. We are in that time, guys. We are in these final days and stages. I wouldn't say final because this time can be different, like I said. But historically speaking, the last 2 months of a bull market cycle is November and December, and on the third year of the bull market. And this is the end of the third year. So with all that being said, we got 2 months and a week or so till December 31st, January 1st. And we're either going to see, I think we're due to see some crazy things happen over the next 2 months. And hopefully to the upside, that will be more exciting. That's kind of where we're at right now. Nothing huge is moving. Nothing really big is doing anything today. Any other questions? We do got, by the way, in 15 minutes, guys, 10 minutes, we got the basics call with Bill. Highly recommend that you guys get on the basics call with Bill. Bill, what are you going over on the basics call?
I cover market structure and risk. So building the house around price action, the roof, the ceiling, the floors that you talk about, the basement that you talk about. And then we go over how to enter your risk and estimate your ROI. It's the very basics.
Yeah, guys, get on that call. It's like a continuation. It's just more training, and a lot of stuff is basic stuff that you need to know. But I just took that line back further, and you can see this is major support and resistance going all the way back on XRP back to January of this year. And we held the support there, and we're coming back up and hidden as resistance. So why wouldn't we get back through that? Whereas we were above it before that big dump. And that big dump is kind of over, and not only over, but we have a big W. We're coming back up to that level, and the RSI is bullish. Everything is heading up right now. So in my opinion, there's no reason why we shouldn't also break through here. So I think we're going to have over the rest of the day and possibly going into tomorrow, we could have a bullish move to the upside from all XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and probably a lot of other things that correlate. But on XRP, I'm thinking probably the $2.90 range, unless we break this downward trending resistance. If we break that and hold as support, then we could see getting up to these levels. Breaking those highs.
Go XRP. Do you happen to know the difference between Cardano and H-bar?
I don't really. I mean, H-bar is. I've heard people talk about H-bar in the same breath as XLM. It's an ISO. I don't think is Cardano an ISO 20022 certified crypto ADA. I'm not sure if it is. I think
Yes,
H-bar. Is it?
Ada, yes.
Yeah, it's in the trade chat pinned.
XRP, Algorand, IOTA, XDC, XLM, HBAR, ADA, there it is, and Quant, QNT. These are the ones you want to stock up on, guys. Hold. If XRP does go to the moon, XLM, XDC, they will all be next. I just don't think they're going to be first. So having a little bit of all of them, I think, is smart. Let's see what this person has to say.
AI indicates we've developed a partnership with our current financial system is being replaced with a new, more efficient global financial system, and only a few cryptocurrencies are compliant with this shift. The Swift messaging system, which moves trillions of dollars.
I don't know who these people are that are in their basements talking, so I don't put much weight behind some of these videos.
This change is set to
Trade with Joe. I don't know who Joe is.
and certain cryptocurrencies are primed to benefit in a big way. Today,
So this is not an endorsement of Trade with Joe by any means.
the best.
He just happens to have a video talking about it, but you can go and find all that on your own. We don't need to watch Joe right now. So that's pretty much it for the day, guys. It's kind of boring today. There's not much action. Let's see. Quick question. Crypto.com XRP is 2,077,000 as opposed to 2,077,000. Are you saying $2.77 as opposed to?
He's probably European and uses the comma instead of a period like we
Oh.
do in the States. And the comma and the M are right next to each other.
Yeah, different. And William answered that. Different exchanges, different prices. Guys, there's something called arbitrage. You could literally buy crypto on one exchange and sell it on the other for an arbitrage, which is the difference in price minus the fees. If you can get away with it and if you can do it. And there are people who've gotten very wealthy doing that, but you generally need a lot of money, because if you're only making pennies per transaction, then you'd need like $10 million in transactions in order for that to add up to tens of thousands of dollars per day. So, but yeah, you can do it. You can literally go and buy on Binance and sell on another exchange, or vice versa. There are price differences around the world, and they vary because of time zones and, you know, exchange rates and how many different platforms are being congregated in the figuring of the price, and, you know, all these different reasons. The valuations. Coinbase, for instance, is a little different as well than even the exchange that we operate on, Phemex. And Phemex congregates its values and prices on, you know, a dozen different platforms, the majors. So there are minor changes in the valuations. Yeah, Keith, arbitrage was bad when it spiked down a few weeks ago. Yeah, that's the one problem with it. You can't know when those things are going to happen. HBAR, Marlon says HBAR ETF goes live on NASDAQ during US government shutdown. Yesterday?
Yeah. He said 28th. Yep.
Let me go look and see.
Today's a big day.
What happened
No longer.
in the price. The price change at all?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, it did pop up like 7%. %21 this week. Not bad.
You're not showing your screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at my private account, so I'm not sharing it. But it's 20 cents right now. It was like 18 cents the other day. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. It's 1:52, continuation over on Bill's channel. He puts the links in the chat, also in the main group. Tomorrow night, Thursday, we will be having a live fireside chat, so to speak. You guys want to get on that, you're welcome to join us. We'll be trading live, so it's just like another live call with me. Of course, we will have the public on there, but you guys are welcome to always come on that.
Where's the link for that?
We generally share it in the free Facebook group, but we'll put it in the Discord as well before the call tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, and I'll let you know if I see anything. Liga, are you sharing something you want me to share? Oh, you're looking at Bitcoin. Yeah. Yep, it's still holding there.
Nico, you ever use one of the indicators called zigzag?
Say that again. I'm sorry, you were kind of echoey.
Have you ever used one of the indicators called zigzag?
No. Anybody else?
Yeah, I use it sometimes. It draws the M's and W's real well. I built it into the Beat the Market Maker indicator. If you want to turn on the zigzag, I pulled it out of the do-it-yourself custom strategy builder indicator because it's a really good zigzag. You can make the colors going up green and going down red if you want to. I think it helps, but it's lagging. You know, it lags, but if you're brand new, it helps you see the W's, the V's, the M patterns better, easier.
It's an indicator or a tool, a drawing tool.
Well, it's an indicator that draws the pivot highs and pivot lows for you.
Oh, cool. No, I don't. You'll have to, if you want to maybe show it to people on the next call, you're welcome to do that.
Right on, right on.
I have not used it. I'm very simple, guys. I used to have every indicator on the book on my charts, and then I realized that most of it is just distraction and causes confusion. We just look at price action, support and resistance. I do use the RSI and every once in a while I'll look at the MACD, and I use stochastic RSI and regular RSI. But I look at the overall trend in the market and support and resistance, supply and demand, and liquidity zones. And technically speaking, that's kind of all you really need. But there are definitely some indicators, guys, that are very helpful. And there's guys in this group who've made a lot of money using certain indicators. Bill, for instance, uses the fib retracement tool. You can go over that, Bill, on the next call as well if you want, if you don't already.
Yeah, I use that one to great success. It's just great for drawing up high time frame support and resistance, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, you get to the point where you can see it with your eye, but that's definitely more accurate. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending your time with me today. Get on Bill's call if you got more time, and then just stay tuned. Make sure you got your notifications turned on for the signals channel. And because if I see any new signals, I did go long on, what did I go long on this live call? XRP. I will share my, I'll take a screenshot of my position, my open positions right now, and I'll post that in the signal channel. And you can see my entry, my stop loss, take profit target, stop loss and margin size and leverage size and all that stuff, which should be all you need. But if you have any questions, just ask. And I will see you on tomorrow night's call and then on Friday's call next after that. Have a great rest of your day. Get on Bill's call and I'll talk to you later. All right, guys. If you have any questions, just ask in the main chat.